Hey there, lovely viewers, and welcome to Get Well, Stay Well on Revelation TV. As always, my name is Cyrus, and every week, delighted to be joined by Felicity. How are you doing, Felicity?
Hi there, I'm great. Absolutely loving my beautiful juice today. And we've got a rainbow show, so I thought we'd have a rainbow juice.
Like your jacket, Felicity.
You like the jacket. Do you know, it's 25 years old. It's so funny. I just can't bear to get rid of this beautiful jacket. So it's colourful, it's bright, and it's everything we should be with Get Well, Stay Well.
Excellent.
And I've made you a lovely juice to match, and this is tomatoes and watermelon.
Let's have a look.
You like that?
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Good, lovely. Excellent.
Great.
So what do we have on today's show?
Well, we're going to have a colourful show. So we've got a lovely song, Over the Rainbow, which we're going to be featuring. And we're going to Hawaii to do that, so that's really exciting.
When's the flight leaving?
Pretty soon, pretty soon. Any moment. Viewers, we'll be off to Hawaii, and it is fun. It's really great.
Excellent.
So also, you know, viewers have asked me about what they do for lunches and how they can have a healthy lunch without having sandwiches and things. So you see, I've made this for Sai. I don't know if you can see. Is that? And so this is little baby lettuce leaves.
Try and hold one up if you can.
Hummus inside, like that. Ta-da!
Wonderful.
So very healthy, and that replaces the bread and the sandwiches.
Fantastic.
So there we are. We off to Hawaii now.
I had a little nibble before we started today's show, and they were absolutely delicious.
Glad to hear
and
that.
they are very, very filling as well. I think it's a fantastic replacement for bread.
Absolutely. I do it all the time. I do it with guacamole sometimes, and you know, the avocado and tomatoes, and anyway, the hummus is fun as well. So there we go.
Okay, so we are off to Hawaii now, Felicity. We have a
Hawaii.
lovely little song that we're going to just show to our viewers. It's Over the Rainbow. Now, I want you to pronounce the name of this singer if you can.
Right. Well,
it's Israel. I'll start with that.
He's Israel, and then it's Karma Kawuko, and then Ole at the end, which is very Spanish.
That's
We're
it.
Happy with that. But he's a lovely, gentle chap, and let's enjoy it.
Just to brighten up your day a little bit, viewers, this is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Let's take a look at this.
Trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you did to, oh, why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry.
Oh, well, that was a lovely, lovely song to start today's programme. Just a rainbow of colours there, Felicity. But more importantly, I want to talk about the singer of this song, Israel Kamakawewo Ole, okay? Now, this is him on screen, isn't it, Felicity?
That's right.
Now, sadly, he passed away at the young age of 38 years old due to obesity.
That's tragic, isn't it? Absolutely tragic. This is what fires me to lead these Get Well, Stay Well programs and weeks, because it's so sad that he got so big and his heart just couldn't cope and gave out. So, we're going to go on to talk about preventing heart disease in a moment, aren't we? Which is so important.
Yeah.
And, I've got lovely people on my course this week, including lovely people from Ireland, Eric and Elizabeth. So hello there.
Hello, Eric and Elizabeth.
Watching. And it's just amazing because this man is really quite ill with Parkinson's, and he has improved so much this week doing the colonics, which have been an absolute godsend to him, and also with the sleep patches, because he hadn't slept for probably 3 years. He was a very fit man, and it came on him very, very suddenly, this Parkinson's. But it's a joy to be able to really help them. And it's been great to have them here this week. We're all flying back tomorrow on the plane, so at least I can go to the airport with them and help them a little bit through the airport.
I just want to talk a little bit about Israel, that singer, that's such a talented singer, Felicity, and just sadly taken away from us at such a young age due to obesity. He had heart problems as well. Now, what do people in those circumstances do? We might have some of the viewers out there who are watching us on today's programme who might also be suffering from obesity. What is the first thing that they should be doing?
Well, really, the thing is to educate yourself. I've put together this Lighten Up course. It's called Lighten Up and Stay Light. So it's just a slightly different version of the Get Well, Stay Well. And the thing is that none of us are born that big, We do build it up. And the fat is actually toxicity in the body. So I don't know what he was eating and drinking, but certainly what he was doing was not good. And it's just so sad that someone should, the heart just can't cope.
Yeah.
I had a friend when I was a Samaritan years ago in Jersey, and he was a lovely chap, and he was about as big as this guy. And of course, he also died in his 30s because the heart just can't cope. So the great thing is to address it as soon as you can, and to really cut down on the wrong foods, learn what has really caused the problem. So it's the wrong fats, the wrong salts, the wrong sugars. And, very often people are addicted to the sugary drinks.
Now, I was going to say, what do we do with our children now? Because they're obviously, most of them are addicted to sugary drinks and all the sweets and all the chocolates and everything else. What can we do with that to avoid their obesity further on in life?
Well, really, what you've got to do is provide a delicious alternative to these things, because it's no good just putting people on a deprivation diet. They're not going to stick with it. So you've got to have other lovely things like these juices, because you see, I could live on these juices. In fact, I did for many years when I was getting better, and they form the basis of my diet and my program. I can live on the juices very happily. When you're used to a lot of cooked food, you can go on to the brown rice, you can go on to the curries, you can go on to baked potatoes, any number of baked vegetables, like the sweet potato, which is lovely. Yeah. So there are good alternatives. And as you get used to these delicious real foods, they're God's foods, instead of the processed food, then the weight does start to melt off. And also, of course, we do the colonics, and the colonics are absolutely amazing. And
I actually spoke to a viewer yesterday, Felicity, in Revelation, from Revelation TV. She watches us every week, and she wanted to know a little bit more information about the colonics. Where can she obtain the colonics, the colonic bags, etc.? What sort of information can you provide?
well, the thing is, I don't really like selling things, but I do provide these because nobody knows what to get. And so I put together a little kit, which is very simple. It's £40 from my ministry website. Here we go. We've got the little bag like that. So you either put the water or the coffee in those, and then you have the rest of the kit here. Very easy. You just, because someone's saying, how do you put all this together? All you do is screw that in, very simpler. And so you have this bag hanging up near your bathroom, near the toilet, and you have the tube coming down, works with gravity. Here you have the little tap, on and off tap, very easy, and this goes into the body. So you just fill up. I have a 32-page booklet, which I email people, as to the whole history of colonics, how it works. Then when people have washed out and they have a clean colon inside, we have the little implant bulb, so you can actually put that in there, maybe use wheatgrass or the lactobacillus, which is a probiotic, or maybe aloe vera, and then people give themselves a little medication of that inside the clean colon. So basically, in just a few seconds, that is how it works.
Okay.
And it's been a real joy for the people on my course who have been blocked up for years. And we talk about the colon. I've got nurses on my course this week as well, which is really interesting. And, you know, when I trained years ago, this was sort of common practice, that you did colonics and washed people out. It's really fallen out of favor in hospitals because people have been relying on antibiotics instead. And sadly, you know, the antibiotics don't work as well as they used to. They also cause all kinds of side effects. So there is nothing as good as washing out the colon. When people go to Hippocrates Health Institute or these other, you know, expensive clinics or places for certainly Gerson, that is the first thing you're given a kit and told to use that at least twice a day. And that's how people lose all that weight quickly. And it's wonderful how all the other diseases disappear as well, because they're all based on toxicity. So when people actually detox with the juices, with the colonics, which is the Gerson therapy from dear Dr. Max Gerson, who was an absolute star, people do get well when they follow it.
Talk to me, Felicity, about heart disease. Heart disease is something that we constantly hear from people who are suffering, who might be overweight or whatever situation. What are the main causes of heart disease, and how can they be prevented?
Well, heart disease is the narrowing of the arteries, because we have actually furred up. If we think of a tube, and the tube gets furred up inside, and so there's very little water able to go through, or blood in the case of the circulatory system. So you've got narrowing of the arteries, and you've also got thicker, viscous blood. So you know, when we have a thick juice, it's much more difficult to move it, rather than when I sieve the juices, and then they're finer, they're less viscous. So if you're thinking of thick blood pushing through narrowed arteries, of course that's going to impose a strain on the body and cause high blood pressure, and then inevitably we get a heart attack or a stroke, and it's really difficult to recover from those. So the thing is to address it, you know, realize if you are overweight, if you've got high blood pressure, that's God's wake-up call, and God is saying to you, you know, you're doing something to your body that is not working, and address it, look for the cause, and change your lifestyle. Okay,
well, we have a little VT coming up now. This is how to reverse heart disease, and this is by the world-famous heart surgeon Caldwell Esselstyn. Let's take a look at this.
Whole food, plant-based nutrition that we talk about all these whole grains for your cereal, bread, and pasta, and 101 different types of legumes or beans, and all these marvelous red, yellow, and green leafy vegetables, and fruit. I have a patient who used to walk his dog along the beach every day. He sold art. And he began noticing, well, just a little bit of chest heaviness. And that, after it had been there for 2 weeks, he saw his family doctor, who sent him to a cardiologist, and he had a stress test that he failed, and he got an angiogram, and he had 100% blockage of the right coronary artery, which had recannulated. I mean, he had nice collaterals going around it. He had another 90% blockage of his LAD, left anterior descending, and about a 75 to 80% of his circumflex. So he was advised to have a triple bypass. And he demurred and said, I don't think I'll do this. And he found us over the internet. He was absolutely got into it. Within 10 days, his pain was gone. Now, the thing that you have to, at least that I'm a little bit fussy about, is that if you think of the blockage or the plaque in somebody who has heart disease as an absolute cauldron of oxidative inflammation, then if I'm going to accelerate this healing, and this is where I have to be a little bit mean, not quite as mean as I look, but I really want to have antioxidants, not the kind you buy with pills at a health food store, because not only are those not going to work, they're going to be harmful. So I want to have natural antioxidants. Yes, blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries on a cereal, great every day, no question. But nothing can beat the antioxidant power of the green leafy vegetables. What are they? Bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, collards, collard green, beet greens, mustard green, turnip greens, Napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cilantro, parsley, spinach, and arugula, and asparagus. And that's just a few of them. However, how much and how often? I want, for my patients with heart disease, I want them to have something the size of their fist after it has been cooked for 5.5 to 6 minutes, so it's nice and tender. Then they can anoint it with several drops of a delightful balsamic vinegar, so they've got something just delicious. Have that alongside breakfast. Again, as a mid-morning snack. Again, with your lunch and sandwich. How about another mid-afternoon? Of course, at dinner time. And I adore it when you have that evening snack of kale. Well, what are we getting? You are pouring these powerful antioxidants, literally, over these inflammatory lesions all day long. And they just begin to feel better, they blossom. They know they're never going to gain weight from the green leafy vegetables. They're not going to go to the emergency room with an overdose of some vitamin. The body doesn't work that way.
Hi there, viewers, and welcome back. I want to ask you, Felicity, if people are concerned whether they've got heart problems, heart disease, for example, what sort of feeling should they be having? How would they know that?
Well, I think the headaches, very often headaches. I have a lady on the course at the moment who had headaches for 3 months, kept going to the doctor, and he didn't really notice that she got a heart problem, extraordinarily enough. And she's a nurse, and she ended up having a stroke. And she's made a wonderful recovery. She's such a bright lady, and driven down from a long way in the north of Spain to do the course this week. And so we're really enjoying being together. And you know, what a wonderful recovery she's made. But if you have got a headache, or you've got, you know, the pounding in the ears, you've got high blood pressure, you feel that you're getting breathless, then for goodness sake, do something about it. Go and check up with your doctor. Get a blood pressure monitor, which you can buy at home and actually do it yourself. But certainly take notice and do something about it. And of course, as he says, coming back to this fistful, I love the way he does this, a fistful of the green leafy vegetables, just sauteed or just cooked, just cooked, boiled. You know, this is why I love my baked sweet potato. I very often just have spinach as my supper, broccoli, for instance, and I put a little bit of the mango chutney on top of that. Oh. Delicious. So you see, you can
Do you make the mango chutney yourself, or do you buy it?
You can buy it. You can buy the very good ones, very good mango chutneys. You can make it as well.
Yeah.
I know your mother makes wonderful chutney, and she has given me some of her own chutney.
The ones that we buy, the mango chutney that we buy maybe in a bottle or something, do they not contain a lot of sugar in them?
Well, of course they do, yes, and preservatives. So everything that you make yourself, you can control.
It's always better for us to be in control.
Of course it is, Si, but so few people take the trouble to actually do that.
Yeah.
Like your mother, who's a wonderful, wonderful chef, you know, and so it's great getting when you get together with lovely friends who are on the same wavelength.
Yes.
You know, you can all help each other. Somebody grows beautiful vegetables, maybe, but you know, I think it's really great. And I'm going to go through those things again because he ran them off so fast. There was bok choy, there's cabbage, there's kale, there's mustard greens, there's Swiss chard, broccoli, cauliflower, arugula, pea greens, beans, Brussels sprouts, cilantro, parsley, spinach, and asparagus. Now, asparagus has particularly good nutrition against cancer, so that's a good one to have.
Yeah.
And we can buy it here in the market very inexpensively.
Now, some people might say, because you've obviously mentioned there, it's good to cook that for 5 to 6 minutes, like the leafy vegetables, like the broccoli and things like that. But some people might say, but by surely cooking your food, you're taking away all the nutrients. What would you say about that?
Well, you are taking away some, because I talk about leukocytosis, and the raw food people, you know, are adamant that you should have everything raw. Well, that is ideal for someone who can do that, but a lot of people can't. And it's a journey, you know, you don't start by going completely raw unless you're fighting cancer and, you know, you're really having to be very radical.
Yeah.
Or heart disease. I mean, if you were as big as that lovely guy, Israel, who we saw a picture of, he would have to be radical.
Sure.
But for most of us, it's a journey, adding the good things first.
And they don't need to be boring. It's like you mentioned as well. You can add a little bit of balsamic vinegar to the broccoli or to anything to just give it a little bit of extra nice taste to it as well, isn't it?
Yes, that's important. And you see, with the juices, you can add a little bit of ginger, lemon. It makes the juices taste so good. So really, the thing is to have something that you enjoy, because then you'll do it. And it's wonderful to see people get well, see the pounds shedding from people, and their breathing improves, they're able to take more exercise, and they're just generally feeling so much better in themselves.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about green leafy vegetables. Have you ever wondered how to prepare them? Let's take a look. This is how to prepare gorgeous green leafy vegetables.
Hi, I'm Joanne from Clean Eating, and today we're talking leafy greens. Leafy greens are one of my favorite things I always have in my fridge, and they're a great way to add lots of flavor, color, fiber, and vitamin C to anything that you make. So we'll start with spinach. Now, when you're selecting any of your leafy greens, you want to make sure that they're nice and green and vibrant, they're not yellow at all, and they don't have any brown spots. Now, if they have any of these signs, that means they're old and they won't have good flavor. Spinach is delicious. You can use it interchangeably cooked and raw. You can use it in salads, on sandwiches instead of lettuce, and you can also use it wilted or steamed. Now next, we've got something that's fantastic. We've got fresh kale. Now the great thing about kale is it's going to add a little bit of peppery earthiness to anything that you cook. Now kale, you always have to cook for the best flavor, and be sure to remove the woody stem. So you can tear it, and then just discard the stem, and then chop it up to whatever size you need. Now when you're cooking kale, you want to make sure that you don't overcook it. If you overcook it, it'll get really wilted and you'll lose lots of those great vitamins that you love. Next we have Swiss chard. Now Swiss chard comes in 3 different varieties. We have white, we have red, and there's also a rainbow color. So unless you want red or purple food, you want to make sure that if you're using white chard, not red, which will leach dye into your nice white rice or your chicken dishes. So chard, you can eat the stems and the leaves, but you want to cook them separately. So simply cut off the stem, chop it into smaller pieces. Now the leaves are quite large and you want to split them in half. So split them right down the center and simply chop the leaves into whatever size you like. Now Swiss chard can be cooked, sauteed, wilted, the same as your kale, and can be used interchangeably. Most leafy greens will last a couple of days in your fridge. You want to make sure that you store them properly. So just get a nice clean dish towel, dampen it slightly, and then you can take the entire bunch of greens and just roll them up in it. Now store these greens in your crisper in the coldest part of your fridge. Once your greens are wrapped in a nice damp dish towel, take the whole thing and put it inside a plastic bag. Don't seal the plastic bag, leave it open, and that'll leave the greens lots of room to breathe. For fantastic recipes with leafy greens, visit us again at cleaneating.com.
Lovely. That's absolutely lovely. Sometimes we just need those kind of videos of information of how to prepare the ingredients as well, isn't it? And it's the little tricks involved. Now, people watching saying, "Oh, I like the look of green leafy vegetables." Where are the best places to buy that, Felicity?
Well, you see, I get them from the gypsy market, and I know the growers now, I know the farmers, so it really is great, and I visited the farms. And again, in Jersey, where I live, I know the organic farmers there, so really you want to buy your produce from people you know, and you know that they are genuinely organic and free of all these pesticides and fertilizers and things. So,
and obviously you can grow your own fruits and vegetables as well, can't you?
That's perfect if you can. And if people can't, there are 2 companies in England called Riverford and Abel and Cole, and they actually send you a pack of vegetables each week. So I've never had to use them, but I know that they're well recommended.
Yeah.
So, you know, we are able to do these things. And of course, if you go on YouTube, you can see all these wonderful food preparation.
Yeah.
And, you know, they show how to do the coffee colonics as well,
Yes.
how to make the coffee for that. They show you how to make your green vegetables. They show you how to juice. There's masses of information.
There is no
there.
excuse really, is there, Felicity, of why we can't be looking after our health more and why we can't become more educated. I mean, hopefully we're educating some of our viewers, but if they want to find out more information, then they can simply go on the internet, on the places like YouTube, and type in anything that they want to do, how to grow your own fruits and vegetables, or how to do the colonics, or how to... There's so much information available out there, whereas maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, people would have to go through libraries and hunting down all the information is now literally on a plate.
Now, my daughter is a librarian, and I do say to people who are not on the internet, because some of our viewers are not on internet, I say go to your friendly library, and a lovely girl like my daughter will come forward and show you how to use the computer in the library.
Excellent.
And also guide you through. So they do that, and so that really helps for everybody.
The technology is making everything a lot easier for us as well, because obviously in the past people wouldn't have the resources of how to find that information in the library. They'd see hundreds or thousands of books. Now they can do searches through the computers in the library and find out anything that they want to find.
And also there's a joy in having a handheld book as well,
Yes.
you know. It's great to be able to do that and have it in your kitchen. So I've got my little recipe book, as you know, and one day I'm going to make a really super recipe book with lovely pictures and make it all glossy and beautiful, probably with plasticized pages as well, because, you know, it's awful if you get some beetroot juice or something on the pages of your beloved recipe book. So, yeah, we'll do that. But I've got basic recipes for people who are ill, and it's all just written out. I think there's 13 pages of them. So there's plenty of choice. But basically, it's all coming from God's own foods.
Yeah.
There's nothing processed. It's just a way of putting together lovely, raw, rainbow foods.
Talk to me, Felicity, about wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is something, I think we did our first ever show together on wheatgrass back in the day. Talk to us about a little bit about wheatgrass to some of the viewers out there who might not be familiar with it.
Well, wheatgrass was really, it's been used traditionally for hundreds of years, probably thousands of years. It's a complete food, the wheatgrass, and if you can grow your own at home from the organic wheatgrass seeds, of course, that's the very best way of doing it. We've got ways of doing that. I have these trays that I grow the wheatgrass on. Also, you can get something called a Fresh Life sprouter from Amazon, and it has a barrel of water at the bottom, a barrel where you put the seeds on the top. You can put different seeds or all one lot. Grow wheatgrass and different sprouts, like alfalfa, buckwheat sprouts, sunflower sprouts. Absolutely delicious, and they're wonderful to juice But Anne Wigmore, and she was a Rev Doc like me, as was George Malkmus, also a Rev Doc, because we've known that it was really the Bible that had the word about food in Genesis 1:29 and 30. And we've realized that God has actually given us the perfect diet if only people will have the intelligence to understand, to look at the word and do it. So it's really interesting. And wheatgrass has all the vitamins, all the minerals, and all the amino acids which make the protein. So, you know, people say to me, oh, where's the protein on your diet? They're thinking animal protein.
Yeah.
But I'm talking phytonutrient protein, which doesn't have the fat and the additives that the animal has been through, you know, being reared and then, of course, being killed.
And of course, you can have wheatgrass in your juicing as well, can't you? You can add that in. That's probably the easiest way of having it.
Yes.
Just mixing a little bit of wheatgrass with the other ingredients, with your fruits and vegetables.
Especially with the green juices, because otherwise the colour of the green wheatgrass destroys, say, the orange colour or the yellow colour.
Yeah.
So I prefer to drink my wheatgrass. I like it. I just drink it down, and then I'll follow it up with a delicious carrot and apple juice or one of the others.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's take a look at our next VT. This is about the benefits of green juices. Let's take a look at this.
Superfood Evolution presents Green Juice and the Benefits of Green Juicing. Green juicing is a process that creates a concentrated, nutrient-rich juice from fruits and vegetables that is low in sugar and high in chlorophyll content. The initial concept of consuming green juice started way back in the 1930s by health enthusiasts like Norman Walker, Dr. Krishner, Dr. Max Gerson, Jay Kordich, and many others who were the first to use the benefits of juicing as therapeutic treatment for many chronic illnesses. Some of these early pioneers used ample amounts of greens in their juicing recipes, and Anne Wigmore, founder of the Hippocrates Health Institute, was one of the first to discover the healing properties of wheatgrass juice, which she used medicinally with great success in her holistic healthcare practice. Today, green juice is quickly becoming a staple morning drink among health-conscious people all over the world, as many are transforming their health by consuming the nutritious green liquid from dark leafy greens and noticing a positive influence on overall mood and energy levels. These benefits can be attributed to its alkalizing effect on the body, in addition to its ability to neutralize toxins, as well as supply an immediate transfusion of absorbable chlorophyll-rich phytonutrients to the cells and bloodstream. Green juice therapy is used in many modern-day fasting retreat centers to promote the detoxification process and is taken medicinally to facilitate a natural state of cellular healing when consumed exclusively for a period of time. What is green juice exactly? Green juice is specifically fresh, raw, living organic juice made with green leafy vegetables and non-sweet fruits, pressed through a juicer. This is a procedure that separates the fiber from the liquid in the vegetables. Essentially, you are concentrating all the nutrients into a juice extract that can be extremely nourishing to the body and is packed with enzymes, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. Juicing the liquid out of raw fruits and vegetables delivers more nutrients in one condensed glass of juice, so you don't have to eat pounds and pounds of produce. Also, by eliminating the bulk fibrous material, you give the digestive system a rest and provide an influx of nutrition that is easily assimilated. For some of you, this may sound somewhat unappealing at first, especially if you are unaccustomed to drinking fresh juices and are not particularly fond of the taste of green vegetables like kale, parsley, collard, or spinach. We encourage you to give it a try, however, as your taste buds will most likely adjust to the flavor once you experience the uplifting side effects. Initially, you can add some sweet fruits to make your juice more palatable, and then eventually reduce the amount of sugar content over time. Fresh green juice benefits over bottled juices. Green juice is a natural mineral and vitamin supplement that can be a powerful influence to a malnourished system. It is best to avoid bottled green juices that have been pasteurized to increase their shelf life. This means that they have undergone heat processing that kills all living enzymes and most all of the health benefits. Your juice should be fresh, raw, and filled with life force, structured water content, probiotic microbes, enzymes, and oxygen. This is the best possible juice for providing restorative components that will help to enhance mental outlook, increase immune health, improve bone strength, achieve natural body weight, and nourish the heart.
Hi there, viewers, and welcome back. I think the point there, Felicity, is it's far easier to juice all the fruits and vegetables and the right nutrients that we need to be having than cooking and eating it all, isn't it?
Well, it's really labour saving. It's wonderful. And of course, when I was so ill with pancreatic cancer, I couldn't think about cooking anything anyway. I couldn't get anything down apart from water. And to get onto these juices was an absolute godsend. It was wonderful. So it makes it much easier also for busy mothers with young children, because actually when you're giving the child a juice, you're giving them masses of beautiful nutrients in there. And so the grandchildren love to come, and the first thing they say is, "Granny, can we make the carrot juice?" Because they love the carrots in particular. And then they get the little carrot moustache, and it's all good fun. But
it's great to get the children used to juicing at such an early age, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
Great education.
And the youngest one, she's born last August, so she started on the juices now, and she loves them. She thinks it's all great fun. And of course, the older sister loves to juice for the baby and give the baby the juice. So it's all good fun. It's real family stuff.
Talk to me about the history of juicing, Felicity. How did it all come across?
Well, you see, juicers have only been developed, I suppose, in the last 100 years. Dr. Norman Walker was the first advocate, really. Dr. Norman Walker produced the Norwalk juicer, which is a big juicing press, quite difficult to, very expensive to buy. But anyway, we then got onto these mechanical juicers, and you have the big one like the Champion juicer, the Green Star juicer, which is a centrifugal, it's a masticating, triturating juicer, which is the daddy of them all. It's the best, and it works with an auger that pushes the fruit and vegetables through slowly, so you get a beautiful juice. You get more juice that way. That's with the triturating, masticating juicer, which is the best. Then people like Jack LaLanne brought out the centrifugal juicer, which works with cutters that actually spin round very fast, and they do juice, but of course you have a lot more pulp with that, and the foods are oxidized slightly. But anyway, they are proper juicers, and they're very good as well. I demonstrate them, so I have both kinds. Then you have blenders as well. But to go back to the history of juicing, it was really Dr. Max Gerson, this wonderful German Jewish doctor whose family had all died in the Holocaust. And he had these terrible migraines from stress, and learnt to completely cure his migraines with the juices and the colonics. So that's the beginning of the Gerson therapy, which is now it's cured thousands of people and run basically in Mexico. There's the Gerson Institute with Charlotte Gerson, which I loved and which I originally started with. Dr. Patrick Vickers has got the Northern Baja Gerson Center, where he's actually bringing in a few of the new innovations that Dr. Max Gerson was working on when he tragically died unexpectedly at only 59, and rather suspicious circumstances. But it's amazing how when people come back to the juices, and these colonics, they're washing out the colon, they're detoxing the body, they're restoring the deficiency of living enzymes, and they're addressing the dehydration in the body. We're all dehydrated.
Now, would you
and stress. Those four things together. That puts it together.
That's very important as well. I don't think people maybe realise how stress can really affect your health. Now, something that people might be watching us today saying, I want to start the juicing. Well, would you recommend for them to add more fruits into their juicing because of to start off with, because they're obviously used to the sugars and then slowly start removing the fruits? Or where would be a good starting point? Do you feel?
Well, obviously the fruit tastes better for people who've been addicted to sugar. And the fruit has the fructose, which is different to the sucrose of the really bad sugars, and especially artificial sugar like aspartame and all those artificial sugars that are so damaging, cause brain cancer, all kinds of problems. You've only got to Google all this stuff, and I only ever repeat what the doctors have said, and this is absolutely true. So when people start juicing, they can start by adding an apple, adding a little bit of fruit, but basically, when you get used to this, you can then go on to just the green juices.
Yes.
So, you know, the cucumber, the beautiful green juices,
the broccoli,
spinach,
and, yeah.
broccoli, exactly. You know all this stuff, Si, now. So it really is interesting how the taste buds change, don't they?
They sure do.
To begin with, you know, do you know they've even hybridized the oranges to make sweeter oranges?
Right.
And they charge more for them. And of course the public go for the sweeter things because we're so sugar addicted.
Yeah.
And this is why we get as big as poor Israel Ole, who we saw in the film at the start.
I think it's also important to mention to the viewers the ingredients that you're putting in the juices, not to, because some people might be watching us today say, oh, I want to start on the juices, and I'm going to go into my fridge and I'm going to throw everything, all the vegetables that I have in there, put it together and taste it, and they might think, oh, they might be put off. It's so important to keep to a particular recipe, isn't it? Because it's the mixture of the fruits and the vegetables and everything in a certain way that really makes it for a nice taste as well.
Well, you can do that. You can do that. But I'm afraid I actually put whatever is going in. I really do. I don't stick with, you know, there's a lot of people who brought out diet sheets and things, and they tell you, I just put in what I have, but then I only buy what I know is good for a start.
Exactly.
So I'm always based on the cucumbers,
there you go.
because that's a beautiful, beautiful drink to have. It's
and the apples as well are very good.
Apples are really good for a little bit of fruit, but I don't go and juice all fruits, because that would be a big load of sugar.
Of course.
But you know,
sure,
the beetroot's lovely. Beetroot juice is wonderful.
Yeah.
Tomatoes, as you're having today, that's lovely.
It's good to experiment, because everyone has different taste buds as well, and they'll have their own favourite juicing, and they'll, like you say, you buy the same ingredients all the time as well.
So have you got a favourite juice? It sounds as though you've got a favourite recipe that you like.
I like the cucumber one, to be honest. I do like the cucumber and spinach one, very much so. I like a little bit of pineapple in my juice as well.
Pineapple's great, isn't it?
For me, the important ingredients is the apple. I normally
and pineapple has bromelain in it, which is really good for the body.
Yeah.
And so all these things, you know, I think God has created this wonderful rainbow of beautiful colours. You know, we've got the carrot, the apple, the beetroot, the cucumber. We've got, you know, we've got a wonderful variety, literally a rainbow of juices.
Yeah.
And of course, if you have all those colours in one day, you'll be getting all the different nutrients, like the resveratrol, which is in the red berries.
Yes.
And the bromelain, which is in the pineapple, the malic acid, which is in the apple. You're getting all these different nutrients, and that's the way to get well and stay well.
Okay, well, I want to show you a clip now by Dr. Mark Greger. Mark Greger is a doctor who's really a doctor to help people. His real focus is to be advising his patients accordingly, not just to give them medication, say, okay, this is your medication, see you later, next patient in please, but really has a passion for the people and passion for his patients. Today he's talking about diabetes and the danger of a low-carb diet. Let's take a look at this.
My name is Dr. Michael Greger, founder of the nonprofit website nutritionfacts.org. Every year I read through every issue of every English language nutrition journal in the world, so busy folks out there don't have to. And I compile all the most interesting, most groundbreaking, most practical findings into new videos and articles I upload every day. to the website. Everything is free, no ads, no commercial sponsorship, not selling anything. In fact, all of my proceeds from my books, DVDs, speaking engagements, all goes to charity. I just do this as a public service, and actually all goes back to my grandma, who when I was a little kid, was diagnosed with end-stage heart disease at age 65. Confined to a wheelchair, crushing chest pain, already had multiple bypasses, and sent home to die. And then she heard on 60 Minutes, Nathan Pritikin, she's one of his first patients. They wheeled her in, and she walked out and lived another 31 years on this planet with her 6 grandkids, including me. And that was the day when she came out that I knew I wanted to be a doctor. But then in medical school, they didn't teach. I mean, by then, Ornish had published in The Lancet Lifestyle Heart Trial, reversing our #1 killer without drugs, without surgery. And if that didn't get out there, if the cure to our #1 killer, then what else was there in the medical literature that I didn't learn about in medical school? That there wasn't a financial motive, there wasn't a corporate budget driving its promotion out there. And so I made it kind of my life's mission to go back into the literature and look at this incredible mountain of research. It's not like it isn't there. It's not like the studies haven't been done. Now, in the age of the internet, now people can take their life and their health and their family's health into their own hands and educate themselves. They don't need to rely on so-called professionals. The low-carb movement keeps coming back over and over again in different faces, and each of them swears, "Oh no, I'm not like the last low carb. No, we tweak it a little bit. No, but I mean they're very similar manifestations, and of course they sell lots of books. Any book that says bacon is good for you is going to sell a lot of books. But what troubles me is, this isn't an academic debate. This isn't an academic discussion. Who's right, who's wrong? It's people are going to listen to these and actually hurt themselves, hurt their families. People are going to die. What's our #1 cause of death? #2 cause of death? Go down the list. These are largely diet-related diseases, and to tell people to eat these kind of diets that it's not that it's not based on science. The science is the opposite. This is not the Dr. Greger diet versus the Dr. Atkins diet. It's the science. It's centuries of science versus the latest fad that someone wants to sell books of.
Fantastic. I wish Dr. Greger was my doctor.
Absolutely. Lots of common sense.
I mean, it's great to hear a doctor actually talk about how he wants to help the patient. He refers back to when his grandmother was ill, and that's really what spurred him on to become a doctor in the first place. Now, it seems, and it was interesting to say when he said, if a book has a title on it saying, "We need to eat more bacon," that book is being sold out by the people, and they're making money on it. That's what people want to hear. But sometimes it's overtaken by the money, isn't it?
Absolutely.
People are just making books, or doctors may be making books to be going accordingly what the people want to hear, but necessarily it's not the best health advice.
Well, people will go with what they want to hear. There was the red wine diet, and that came out about 20 years ago. And my husband, who loved his red wine, said, "There you go, you see, it's perfectly all right." But it wasn't, of course, and he did die of cancer in the end. He was into meat, he was into dairy, he was into lots of wine. And I just couldn't do it. I could never take wine, even from a teenager, when my parents would sort of say, "Oh, have a little sip of wine, see if you like it." And I'd say, "Oh, that tastes awful." And really, it's been so easy for me because I was never tempted with wine. And I do thank God for that. And interestingly, the Chinese people have a special enzyme in their bodies, or they're lacking an enzyme, that they can't drink much either. And that's probably the salvation of many people. Because if you're sugar addicted, if you really want those sugars, alcohol is such a quick way of getting that fix into the body.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do become addicted because they just love drinking the wine.
Yeah.
So,
what sort of advice would you give out to our viewers who might be suffering from alcohol problems at the moment?
Well, the thing is to really take a look at yourself and decide whether you want to do something about it. It's when you decide in your mind, as Dr. Contreras says, you make that decision to get well. and you decide you've had enough of the side effects of the wine, and really you decide you're going to do something, and then you really talk to someone about it. I think accountability is important, that you have someone who you can relate with, a doctor, a counselor, someone who's used to doing this, and they will guide you through, I think.
Yeah. And what about our faith in God as well, Felicity? Because
vital.
there are so many problems out in today's society with the pressures of the world, everything going on. We've got alcoholic problems, we've got people who have financial situations in their lives, they have medical situations in their life. But at the end of the day, who can you turn to? You sometimes can be in like a big black hole where you do feel alone. And then that's when God can come into your life and really show you the light, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, I love Isaiah 43. When you go through the waters, I will be with you. When you go through the fire, you will not be burned. You need to have this wonderful faith in God. You need to be able to read your Bible. You need to be able to talk to God, and you know, also have some Christian counseling, because that will really guide you back to get well and stay well.
Now, what are your thoughts on they call it the fad diets, because there are so many diets out there available and people just kind of move from one diet to another. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, a lot of money is made out of these fad diets. You know, people are always bringing out new books, and basically, how can we ever beat God's diet? Because God's diet is the perfect one, and the really expensive institutes and clinics are all basically detoxing people, getting them back on the vegetables, the fruits, the herbs, the seeds, the nuts, and the green plant. So it's just a money-making thing. People bring these books out, and you know, I've seen people become really ill when they go on these strange diets, and they're not thought out properly. You know, God is the creator. He's created our bodies. He knows exactly what we should be eating. And meat and dairy was not on the menu in Genesis 1:29 and 30.
So we've talked about the green juicing, we've talked about eating the right foods and nutrients, but it's a whole lifestyle change at the same time as well, isn't it? We need to also be exercising. How important is that?
Well, it's exercise to get the body going, it's drinking enough water, it's getting in the sunshine, it's getting some sleep. You know, the body really only heals when we're asleep at night. So really important to get your magnesium levels up so that you're going to sleep well at night. Those patches, I've just got my lovely Eric better with the Parkinson's, because he hasn't had a decent night's sleep for 3 years. He's suddenly sleeping again. So important to get that rest. And, you know, they're believers. We will have a lot of prayer together on the course, and it really does transform lives. Yeah.
Because movement as well, and exercising and circulation of our whole body, that's so important. And even if it's just walking, we can just surely start and have some time for that.
Absolutely, and walking is the best thing. You know, walk early morning in the sunshine. If you live in a nice climate, that's the best thing to do, to get out and breathe that beautiful fresh air in the morning. And, you know, get in a garden if you can. Get your feet on the ground, literally, you know, on the grass, on the beach, but get your feet on the ground, because we live on concrete or wood, don't we?
Yeah.
And, you know, I live in a flat, and I often think I just get in the car, I drive down to the studio, I come into the studio. When have I actually walked on the grass, hugged a tree, walked along by the beach? And so whenever I get some free time, that's exactly what I do.
Make the most of our surroundings.
Absolutely. And aren't we lucky here in Spain?
We sure are.
To be able to get in this beautiful fresh air.
Excellent, Felicity. Sadly, we have come towards the end of today's show. Thank you so much, as always, for your vast amounts of information. Thank you also to our viewers. Just to remind you that we have a catch-up service on our website. It's www.revelationtv.com, where you can watch our programme all over again. I just want to thank you so much, viewers, for watching today. We really do hope that we've inspired you, and to make some small changes in your life and gradually just increase that. And do keep us up to date. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you as always. Have an amazing day and keep smiling. God bless. Bye.